start. Welcome everyone. Good morning. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Everybody good?
Good.
Okay, so today what we are going to see is the last part of the rootless cittas that we have been looking at for around like 2 weeks now, more or less, rootless cittas, meaning that those cittas that are not associated with neither the good roots nor the bad roots. Remember what are the good roots? Aloba, good roots, aloba, adosa, and amoha, non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion. And the bad roots, loba, dosa, and moha, greed, hatred, and delusion. So these cittas that we have been looking at are those that does not associate with neither of these six. Okay, yes, so also we have been looking at something very exciting, the mental processes of the five sense door and also of the mind door. So before we continue today with the last part of the rootless cittas, I would like to ask everybody, how have you felt, and did you find that this information of knowing about mental process or knowing about the roots and anything that we have seen until now, does it make any change in your life? Is it helpful? Why do you think it is good to know about this, or it is not necessary to know about this, or anything that I wish to hear everybody? Yes?
Yeah, for me, it has been really helpful in my everyday life. I could notice when I'm getting angry, and I do that a little often. So before I was like punishing myself for that, and I was like, I understand, I maybe have that tendency, but now it's like I'm more patient and compassionate with myself, and that helps a lot because I really can stop doing what I was going to do or even thinking, and it's been really helpful.
Somebody else wants to share it? Yes.
Yeah, to realize that we have the option to react or not,
Yes.
because it's not upon the circumstances, but what we do with them. And I find that more like clearly in my days now. When some situation kind of upsets me, I'm trying to stop in that moment and realize, okay, this is neutral. Actually, I'm acquiring some tendency to get upset, or I can stop it now, and it helps to diminish the consequences.
Yes, that's actually very good, and very good point, because it is important for knowing this, like whatever situation or circumstances that we encounter with is actually resultant of previous actions that we already performed, so there's nothing to do about it. But whether getting angry with the situation now or not is our choice, so that's the main point also, so very important. Thank you so much. Somebody else? Yes?
Well, like you always say, this is like a manual, like an instructor manual. So it is amazing that we don't have that instructor manual up until now. So before we had no idea what to do when everything was happening. Like, for example, if you don't know how to treat your car or any machine properly, then you will not realize that you are damaging it or that you are not taking care of it, and it will have bad consequences. But if you read the instructions and know how you need to operate it correctly and what you need to do and what you must not do in order for the machine to work correctly, then it is most likely that you will have a proper functioning machine. And it is amazing that it is slightly similar with our mind as well.
Yes. Yes.
So if you don't know the structure, that you know how to operate correctly, how to do things that are good, and how to avoid things that are bad, and now you can understand the whole process that's going on.
Yes.
So
Thank
it's
you.
a very, very useful tool.
Thank you, Diego. Yes, this is Bate? Yes, this is also a very important point because the whole point of studying the Abhidhamma is the understanding of how nature works and how mind and matter works, and what are we? We are mind and matter. So actually, is to understand how ourselves work. So, like Diego said, if we understand how it works, then there are more possibility of that we can take better care of it, and then we don't do things that because of ignorance or because of lacking of information, that we do things that is actually on the opposite direction, that is actually not good for the mind and for whatever basic, most of the time the mind, the body as well, about food and whatever it may be. So it is very important, and that's the also meaning of why we understand, why we want to study the Abhidhamma, to understand how the structure is. And to get enlightened, actually, there are 10 stages of 10 stages of knowledge until one get enlightened. Then we have to slowly understand more and more things. Then when wisdom grows to one stage, then enlightenment happens. Because it's not like magic. Okay, yes, you're not enlightened. No, so it is like accumulating knowledge and wisdom. Then enlightenment happens when the knowledge is enough. No, so there are 10 stages of knowledges, and actually the very first ones are the ones to understand very well what is nama and what is rupa. And so Abhidhamma is helping us in that way. Because if we don't understand the nature of what is mind and what is matter, then the other kind of knowledge cannot happen. So this is the base, and then this information, although it is now not yet our own knowledge, because we haven't realized it by ourselves through meditation, but this information is like a map. So it is going to be very helpful when we, during our practice, to understand all these things. Thank you very much. Yes, Vante wanted to say something?
No.
So somebody else wanted to share up till now what we have seen, that why is it helpful, or is it helpful at all, or has it changed anything in your life? You can also say in Spanish, Yes.
For me, it has been really, really helpful because, as you said, it makes the practice clearer. It's more evident what you can see.
Yes.
Maybe not in that detail, of course, but it gives like direction.
Yes. Something else? Thank you so much. It happens also to us that before learning Abhidhamma, we have already like almost 10 years practicing meditation without studying at that time. Then after 10 years of meditation, then we started learning about the Abhidhamma. Then when we start learning, then there are so many times that we Bante would say, hey, that's why teachers say this during the meditation. I mean, I call our meditation teacher, Sealo Tejinia, I call him teacher. And Sealo will come, I call him Sealo usually. So I said, when Sealo explains something, I said, that's why teacher asked us to practice this way. I said, so before we knew that we have to do this, but we didn't know why. And so then now everything makes sense. Of course, like because this, because that, then that's why he said so, then that's why he says so. So even this information has helped us clear up so many meditation instruction, which is finally the same, like it is the Buddha's teaching, but we didn't understand because we didn't have background knowledge. So that was helpful also. Something else? Want to share something? No? Okay. So thank you very much, everybody. So I hope that it will continue to be helpful and beneficial for everybody, this information. And so let's continue. Let's take a little bit look of where we left off last week. So last week we talked about different kinds of feelings. So let's remember everybody together. What kind of feeling is this one? Somanasa, mental pleasant feeling, and this one? Domanasa. mental displeasure, mental unpleasant feeling, and then this one,
Upeka.
vipāka,
yeah,
neutral
finally, very
feeling.
good.
Yes, neutral feeling. And how about this one?
Sukha.
Sukha, bodily pleasant feeling, which is actually a mind feeling, but it is felt through the body. Yes, the mind understands this feeling through the body touch. Yes, so this is pleasant. And how about this one?
Dukkha.
Dukkha. Yes, so bodily pain, bodily uncomfortable feeling. Okay, so there are 5 kinds of feelings that we saw last week, and also we saw the conditions of how the 5 sense consciousness arises. So we needed the physical eye, which in sensitive matter is called pasada rupa. So in each of the senses, there are some kind of subtle sensitive matter in physical. They are matter, no, the physical matter, which helps when it gets into contact with its correspondent object, sound, sight, taste, touch, and smell. When they get into contact, and with the help of light or space or air or the matter itself, hardness and softness, then this kind of sense consciousness arises. So, arise. So then we saw that also last week, and also we saw the resultant consciousness, result of past unwholesome actions and past wholesome actions, rootless ones. Yes, then we have been looking that those are eye, ear, nose, tongue, touch consciousness, and what is this one? Remember? Receiving consciousness and investigating consciousness. Yes.
Chitta,
So,
eh?
yeah, chitta. So these 7 kinds of chitta are the result of past good action or past bad action without roots. Yes, so we have been looking at this. So previously we have been using these 2 pictures, but because of the projection and everything is not very clear. So this is actually like a wither, like a sick apple leaves and flowers, which are not very healthy. That's why they cannot produce fruits. Remember that we talked about that. And this one is good in a healthy apple tree with good leaves and good flowers, but in an apple tree, sometimes not all the flower gives fruits. Yes, some gives a flower and then they fall down and that's it, and it never gives a fruit, which can later on produce more roots. Yes, so this kind, these pictures were supposed to be representing the rootless result, but because it is not easy to see, so we have changed the icon to something easier. So from now on, if you see this like dry leaves, and then we know that is the icon for unwholesome, rootless resultant, and a nice apple flower, those of the beautiful rootless, result from good action but rootless. So these 7 kinds of consciousness. Yes? Okay. So last week, we left until mental feeling. Yes, like Vedana, which consciousness associate with which kind of feeling. Yes, Vedana. So now we are talking about beautiful, rootless, wholesome, resultant cittas. Yes, so result of past good actions, rootless ones. So eye, ear, nose, tongue, and receiving consciousness associate with what kind of feeling? Remember? Upeka. Yes, associate with neutral feeling. Yes. And how about wholesome result? Touch associate with which one? Sukha. Yes. In the case of wholesome, in the case of wholesome, then it's sukha. In the case of unwholesome, then it will be dukkha here. Yes. So bodily pleasant feeling or bodily uncomfortable feeling in case of a bad result. Now.
So we do good in the past. We get the fruit or in the present, and it comes already with a pleasant emotion because we did good. Naturally, the object will be pleasant, so the sensation, in this case, physical sensation will be pleasant. So it will be easier to cultivate more good. So you see how goodness built one on top of the other. Good is easier to be happy when everything is fine around us. It's more challenging to be balanced in the mind when we have physical pain, sickness, or a situation that is very difficult. So we can see in this way how good, it is a win-win situation. We do good, we get good, it's easier to do more good, and in the bad negative side is it happens the same. So this kind of tricks we can start seeing the importance of morality, of using the word, our mouth in a proper useful way, and our bodily actions, they will naturally give good result.
Yes. And besides what Bante said, also we mentioned last week that these ones, although it is good result, it does not associate with somanasa, does not associate with pleasant feeling. Why? Because the touch is very soft, and also this kind of consciousness, they are actually quite simple. They don't know so much. They remember in the mental process, they just turn and then it just arrives. So they are just passing the information of the object to the mind. So here actually they are simple, quite simple cittas, quite simple cittas. Yes, so that's why they only associate with neutral feeling here. Yes.
Regarding the not accumulation of this information, does memory enters at some point here or not here?
Not exactly here. Memory is also a function of stamina, of perception, but that's a little bit more complex process.
It is a little bit more in the thinking process where memory will come in, like when thinking something.
Yes. Here
But
don't know
this
yet.
you can, it's just
passing
experiencing, seeing, coming, gathering information through the senses. And also one little comment is that the teachers often relate equanimity to happiness, because I mean, not to be really happy or experiencing beautiful and pain from the other side. I think equanimity is more on the positive side, isn't it? We would love to have always equanimity at least, and avoiding suffering, isn't it? We prefer equanimity against suffering. So generally equanimity, let's get a sense that it is kind of on the side of positivity. You are not feeling elated, like happy or pleasant sensation, but at least you are not suffering. So it is neutral, and equanimity also have a great potential for mental cultivation. We will see in future chapters.
2. Actually,
future
this
chapters.
equanimity that Bante is talking about, and we will look at it in more details in chapter 2. And this mental factor is called tatra majatata. It is equanimity itself, because sometimes equanimity is also used upeka, is also used upeka or tatra majatata. So that is a different kind of cetasikas, because now here it is vedana. So here you see these ones are resultant, so we are not actively doing anything. No? So those cetasikas that associate with wholesome consciousness, and like Bante said, when we are equanimous, when we are at peace, then those kind is actually kusala cittas. They are good actions. So those associate with tatra majatata cetasika, which is equanimity in the family of the beautiful cetasikas. So in chapter 2 we will look into details at that point. So here is only naturally it happens like this. So this is not under our control. It's just how nature works. Yes. Okay. Yes, resultant consciousness, resultant cittas. So then last time we left off in investigating consciousness of the wholesome cittas. In the quiz, if someone has done it, so actually it was a little bit tricky. In the last question, that there was like which vedana and mental feeling does investigation consciousness, wholesome resultant investigation consciousness associate with. So last time before we finished, in the last moment we said that it's associated with somanasa and upeka, with pleasant and neutral feeling, but we haven't explained why yet. So I thought maybe in the last moment, if you heard that, then you will get the right answer. And if you didn't get the right answer, then now you will remember it because you got it wrong. So I thought it was good. so we left it there. Okay. So today now we will continue about the investigating consciousness of investigating moment of the mind during the 5 sense door process, result of wholesome past wholesome actions. Yes. So now here it can associate, as we just said, with neutral feeling or with pleasant mental feeling. And why is it so? Let's see. A few sessions ago, then we talked about what induces different kinds of mental feeling, and then we saw that actually has to do with its objects. Yes, remember? Then we said that pleasant objects is more possible that a pleasant feeling will arise, and unpleasant object then more possibility that an unpleasant feeling will arise because of the nature of the object. So now, since we are talking about result of past good action, wholesome action, so this kind of consciousness, when this kind of cittas, when they arise, they are going to encounter good objects, obviously, pleasant objects, because they are a result of good past action. Yes. So,
Yeah, the volume is low.
yeah, very
That's
low.
why.
Yes. Okay, just
The baby.
yes. The but anyway, you already remember. It's registered in your mind already. So we don't need the sound. It's working as mind object at this moment, not sound object. Yes. Okay. So let's see if we hear the baby now with the ear consciousness. Okay. So pleasant sound, pleasant sight,
That is Somanasa.
pleasant taste.
That's how Somanasa feels.
Yes, in the Javanas probably. Yes. So pleasant touch, pleasant smell. So all these pleasant, agreeable objects are result of when we encounter this kind of objects, agreeable objects, good objects, is due to result of past good action. Yes. Okay. So on the other hand, we already saw when it is a past unwholesome action, result of past unwholesome action, then those objects that we will meet is disagreeable. Yes, they are not very pleasant, not agreeable object, because they are result of past bad actions that we perform.
Okay. So with these two examples, we can see the work of karma, how what we do results directly in our experience. And our teacher says that whatever it is sometimes really unbelievable, but whatever we see here, good or bad, is related to our previous conditioning. That's why we are here. To start with, we are on this world where pleasant and unpleasant exist. Forget about if I am here in this house at this moment, but just to have a right to become a human, our previous actions made us human. And in the human realm, you can get this and you can get that. And the more goodness you do to yourself, the more wise we act towards ourselves, the more we encounter this. But it's not a given. It's sometimes we did bad actions in previous lives or something. So sometimes the conditions are not pleasant. But in general, if we have some kind of mobility, we can start choosing the environment we live, the people we relate, and the seeds we plant. So our future, we are building it with our present actions. So this is what we're talking to have another layer. We are looking now at the consciousness and how the units arise and pass away with what characteristics. But actually, what we are looking is at the gears of karma. We are looking how karma works. We do good, we receive good. We do bad, we receive bad. And now we're looking with what kind of elements when the fruit is shown.
How
it is happening.
I remember a teacher saying that karma has a very noble function in our lives, because if we have planted good seeds, we are receiving a good crop out of it, good fruits. And if we didn't, and we are receiving some unpleasant resultant thing from it, and we have this knowledge, we can realize the things that we need to change in our life and our growth in order to stop planting bad seeds.
Yes.
That's how we point our lives in a good direction.
Yeah.
And for some religions where there is this image of general manager God that gives good or bad. I mean, it's very. I feel very fortunate to know that I'm responsible of all what I'm having in my life, and not there is no God punishing or giving treats
Rewards.
or rewards. Yeah. So
yes. Yes, it is just how nature works. Karma is most fair. Whatever seeds we plant, whatever fruits it will come out. It is not possible to plant an apple expecting a banana, or plant a banana expecting a mango. That's not possible. So it's just how nature works. And sometimes we say, oh, he did bad deeds, and but nobody finds out, so he's not going to jail or whatever. Anyway, karma does not
Karma
forget, so don't worry about that. So, or if we do good, and then how come I did good, and then they
Karma's
still treat
saving
me so
care.
badly or whatever? Don't worry, karma does not does not forget. So maybe it was not the best time, or the conditions was not fulfilled yet for this good result to happen, but it will when the conditions are fulfilled.
When we arrive to the 5th chapter in here, we will see that there are 4 kinds of karma: the ones that support, the one that hinder, the one that destroys, and the one that creates. We will get into contact into the details of how really karma, the Buddha explained very carefully how our good or bad actions give fruit, in which way and when, depending on how the seed was planted.
Good advertisement.
Yeah.
Chapter 5 yes.
May I ask about like pleasant and unpleasant like objects?
Yes.
It's like really correct to say that an object is pleasant or unpleasant?
Yes and no, because now we are looking at the quality of the object. Let's say for example, now we're talking about human beings, no, as human beings. Now, if we see something like this, then most average people will say that this is unpleasant, or maybe some people that like rotten fish maybe say it is very pleasant, but most in average, then it is not talking about special case, because liking and disliking, it happens in Javana, no, it's something else totally. But this is only the quality or the nature of the object itself. So we can say in general, everybody thinks that this is unpleasant. So then the object does have some kind of quality to itself. Yes. Say for example, like this, maybe somebody doesn't like sunset, maybe he thinks that it's not good, but in general for everybody it's a pleasant thing. Yes, so it doesn't do harm to see this. Or maybe if food, or if some poison, well, some poison are medicine as well, but some, let's say some poison, then we cannot say that it is a pleasant object, because if we eat it we die. Yes, so the object itself does have some kind of quality, whether it is agreeable or disagreeable, whether it is good for us or no, in different times, yes, in different conditions. So it does have, but not depending on liking or disliking. Yes. Okay. So let's continue with here, because remember, okay, we have to rewind back a little bit that we have been talking about why the Santirana, investigating consciousness of good result, of wholesome resulting consciousness, have 2 kinds of feelings. Yes. Okay. So let's continue. Until here, we okay to continue? Yes. Yes. No question. Yes. Okay. So unwholesome resultant, what we will encounter is disagreeable object in general. Yes. So for wholesome karma, wholesome past actions, the result, usually what we will encounter is agreeable object. Yes. So here it comes another kind of object, which is called very agreeable object in the case of wholesome resultant. So how is it and what is it? Let's take a little look. Here I put a quite random example. It can be of a same kind of object. Let's say a cabbage. A random example. So this cabbage is a nice cabbage that we got from the supermarket, wrapped very nicely and very clean. And so we can say that this is an agreeable object if we get a cabbage. Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's not bad. It's not rotten. So it's an agreeable object. So because of our past good action, then now we got a nice cabbage. Then how about a cabbage that is in the farm that your friend grew and then he harvested and then he gave it to you? So in comparison, would you say this is a very agreeable object more than a normally agreeable object that we get in the supermarket? Yes. So it could be
industrial cabbage. And,
so it could be cabbage, but the quality is a little bit different. Yes. So some are better and some are Okay, so why do we encounter different qualities of objects? It is due to our past action, quality of our past action. So if your quality of the action is better, then you get better quality result, obviously. Then if the quality is more or less, then you get a more or less object, or more or less result. Actually, but remember here, just one clarification, that our karma does not produce cabbage. But our karma makes us encounter what kind of cabbage.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay? Okay, so that's why in this sense there are agreeable object and very agreeable object.
Karma, we can see it, I mean, we need to be careful with it, but we can see it with this kind of magic that changes our life, because we encounter one person at one single moment, sometimes because of the meeting of a person, our whole life through the years, in decades, changed dramatically. If we wouldn't have met that person, and that person might have, if at that moment the mental activity changes to direction to other part, that person could have passed through beside us without having this kind of connection. So we can see that these kind of things, we may say, how come everything happens because of my previous actions? All these conditions are greater than life. I mean, it's life itself. The universe is setting them up, and it just starts connecting with it. I mean, this is kind of that sense of unbelievableness of life.
Yes.
Things get for good or for bad. Also, meeting a person can harm, or having a situation because of we could have skipped that thing, like an accident or something, because of a second. It could have happened or could not have happened because of a fraction of a second. In that moment is when all these conditions comes together, either to the good or either to give bad, and becomes our reality. All the stories we have in our lives, when somebody asks, who are you, what has happened to you, all the stories that we bring up has something to do with this net of conditionality of the universe, and we are part of, we are it.
I'll make a comment and then go to Martha. And yes, as Bante said that what we encounter is due to karma, but also very important, like in the beginning, like Alejandro said, what we meet with is the result of karma we cannot change. But what we can change is how we react to what we encounter. So this is extremely important, because otherwise we might get into a very thin line of thinking, oh, so everything is destiny, it's just karma, so there's nothing to do, I just have to wait.
The results are.
So the results are, but not our action, which our action is making new causes for new results to happen. So it's not totally destiny. It's not like here is sometimes you say written in books. It's not like that. Yes,
It's like a chain. One, you need this link in order to make the new one. This is the present, this is the past is coming, and it is linked. And then the present becomes the past, and it comes the present, and the present becomes past to become, and like this one after the other.
Does karma has like different ways of presenting itself afterwards? Like if I get that kind of courage, is because I was very good with earth in my past, or I was very generous with food. This is food, and then the other way is relationships,
Yes.
and then like it's like
it's related. Also can be. Yes.
okay.
So, yes, it is like if you plant fruit trees, then you will get some fruits, no? Like so, it is the result of the actions is also similar. Say, for example, as you say, exactly as you say, if you have been generous with food, you always give food to other people, or you invite other people, then it is more possible than in another time when result comes, then you will get plenty of food. You don't have to ever worry about food. Most of the time it happens like similar. Say, for example, if you help other people to study, you help them and then you explain, then you might have a result that is related to that. Maybe you meet good teachers, or maybe you always find good books, or maybe you have good information, or so they are like similar. So sometimes our teachers also said that this person, that he is very good health, he has very good health, or if you want to get happy, good health, and help other people with medicine, or help take care of, say, people, or so whatever actions, it does have some kind of relations. Not all the time exactly the same, not exactly the same, but similar conditions.
Of the same
yes,
family.
of the same type.
And we can see that karmas often is immediate. For example, you are generous towards someone, the least that person wants to do to you is to help you in any way. Even if it is not the same, if you give food to someone, whenever that person has the possibility, generally it will feel this, the how you say the intention. It will okay, now you take, now I can give you. So let's not get a sense of mystical thing that happens there or something. It's immediate. You have nice vibe towards people. Generally people, or good or bad energy towards people, they reciprocate with the same kind of feeling or energy towards you.
Yes. And later there are some slides with mental process. When we get there, then we'll do a tiny bit of advertisement again of chapter 5. Okay, about
Chapter
this.
5, 9.
Okay, so until here we are fine. Yes, then even it is a same good object, but it has different quality, better quality or good quality. So what happens is that if the object is a normally agreeable object, then in the investigation consciousness, investigating citta of wholesome resultant will associate with neutral mental feeling. And if the object is a very agreeable object, then the feeling that associates with this kind of citta will be pleasant mental feeling.
So nice.
Yes, is that clear? Yes, so this we don't choose. It just happens because of our past karma, the quality of that karma, and what result happens, and naturally this feeling that associates with this kind of citta arises naturally. Yes? Okay. So now you may say, why only in investigation consciousness, and why not in the receiving, and why not in the eye consciousness, because the object is the same. If it is agreeable or very agreeable since the beginning, it is the same. Now it is because in the first part of the mental process, the consciousness, the citta that arises, what they do, their function is very simple. They only, they remember the bhavanga, life continuum. They just, something's happening, but they don't know what's happening. Yes,
the time when
yes.
the mind is kind of sleeping, that is not active, and then it starts shaking in the beam.
Start shaking, yes, start shaking. Then what happened? Then the mind turns, remember? So it turns to the sense door. In this case, let's say tongue door. Let's say the taste of the two cabbage, for example. No, so it turns to the tongue door, but at that moment, it's only turning. It's only directing to the correct door, but it does not know anything yet about the object. Yes. Okay. So after turning to it, then tongue consciousness arises. Then what tongue consciousness does is only it takes the data of the object, and it is passing on and passing on. So at that moment, it also doesn't know anything yet. Then in the receiving consciousness, is only get it from the tongue and give it to the investigating. So that's his job. So also he's not doing anything about the sense data. It's only passing. So for them, it is quite simple, and it's only vipāka because they don't know much about the object. But in investigating consciousness, investigating moment, then the mind starts to know more about the characteristic, the marks of this object. What is it? How is it? So that's why at this point, although it is a resultant consciousness, it knows a little bit more whether it's an agreeable object or it's a very agreeable object in this case.
It is already investigating it. So
looking
it doesn't know yet really what it is, but it's
But
already
it's
the other
taking
one.
more look.
The other one turned. The other one took it and passed it, and then this unit of mind starts taking a look to it. So it starts kind of getting the taste of it. It knows what it is. You remember the one that comes after this is the botawana, the one that says yes, it is a very nice cabbage. And then it comes the javana, the active,
like it.
when we plant the seeds of liking or disliking or neutral, the active side of the mental process.
Yes, so that's why it is only until here, the investigating, that there comes two kinds of feeling in this case. Yes? Okay, so let's continue. Oh, actually we had it here. Okay, so we are talking about this one, and it is a resultant consciousness. Now I have a question for all of you. Since it is a result of, now we are talking about good past action, past wholesome action, does it plant seeds here? No. Yes, because it itself is a result. So it is not doing any action. It does not plant seeds, obviously. Okay, so if it does not plant seeds, whether which is agreeable or very agreeable here, is it possible for lower or dosa to arise? No, cannot. Yes, because it is a resultant consciousness. It's not doing any action. Yes, so here at this point, it is not possible. Although the object is agreeable or very agreeable, here lower or dosa cannot arise because it's not its part. It does not have to do with it until where? Until here. Yes, until here. Then disliking or disliking comes. Yes. Okay. So it is not possible at this moment for these two to arise. Sorry. So, but anyway, when we come to here, because it will come, yes, so when we come to here, so be careful. If it is very agreeable object, it is more possible, or there are more possibilities for loba, for greed to arise in this case, because the object is very good, yes. So what we have to take care is until here. I just wanted to make sure that whether it is agreeable or disagreeable, here there is no liking or disliking yet. So this somanasa comes just as a natural process. It does not come because we like it. That's somanasa. Yes, that mental pleasant feeling does not arise because we like it. It's just because the object is very agreeable. Okay? Yes, it clear?
Like, for example, if it's a very agreeable object, is there a chance to like create like dominanza right afterwards, or it's always?
It could be, because this is actually how we react to what we get. It depends. It could be a very agreeable object in itself, in its quality, but I'm so angry with this friend, so whatever he give me I don't like. Say for example, I got angry with him, whatever he give me, I don't like it. So it's a very agreeable object here with somanasa, but then when it comes here, a domanasa, dosa, because it is also possible, no? So it is possible. Or it is also possible that because it is so nice, then the most obvious, then loba can arise. Or it can also arise wisdom or understanding or metta, loving kindness, like to this person, or thinking that understanding that I'm getting this kind of good object due to past good action. So doing good action have good result. So this kind of understanding can also arise here. So it does not always have to be angry or lower. It can also be understanding. So whatever here is our responsibility, and we choose what to do with whatever object we encounter. Yes? Okay. Something else? Okay, so shall we continue?
Okay.
Okay, now, with this explanation, then we finish the 8 types of wholesome, rootless, resultant consciousness, resultant cittas, which let's try to remember. Eye, ear, nose, tongue consciousness that associate with what kind of mental feeling? Vipāka, yes, neutral mental feeling. Body consciousness, wholesome result associate with sukha, pleasant body feeling. Receiving consciousness associate with vipāka, yes, neutral feeling. And investigating consciousness can associate with neutral feeling when the object is agreeable object, or with somanasa, pleasant feeling, if the object is very agreeable. Okay? So now we finished with these 8 types. These are all kinds of rootless resultant consciousness. Later, next week, next week probably, we will come to those resultant consciousness of wholesome consciousness, but with root. Yes, the apples. Yes, now we are only with the flowers. Okay, so let's do a little Pali exercise. Yes, so let's try to read it together. Ahetuka. Ahetuka means hetu. Remember, hetu is root. No roots. Ahetuka. Kusala. Kusala, everybody already know. Wholesome. Yes. Vipāka. Resultant. Cittas. Okay, so let's go together. Ahetuka. Kusala. Vipāka. Cittas. Okay, citta. Okay, the first type is associated with mental neutral feeling. Upekkha sahagata. Let's go together. Upekkha sahagata. Eye consciousness is called chakku viññāna. Okay, so upekkha sahagata chakku viññāna. Okay, second type, same, and now it's hearing consciousness is called Sota Vijnana. So we go
Upeka
Sahagata Sota Vijnana. Very well. Then nose consciousness is called Gana Vijnana. So Upeka Sahagata Gana Vijnana. Very good. Remember, Vijnana is the same as Chitta. Mano, Chitta, and same word, same synonym word. So tongue consciousness is called Jiva Vijnana. Jiva Vijnana. So let's go.
Upeka Sahagata Jiva
Vijnana. Okay. Then body consciousness, Kaya. Body is called Kaya. Kaya Vijnana. So it's associated with Sukha. So let's go.
Sukha Sahagata Kaya Vijnana.
Now, receiving consciousness is called Sampatichana. Sampatichana. So it is associated with Upeka feeling. So let's go. Upeka Sahagata Sampatichana. Okay. Now, investigating consciousness is called Santirana. Santirana. So we can associate with Upeka and Somanasa. So let's go both of them. Upeka Sahagata Santirana and Somanasa Sahagata Santirana. So now we have 8 kinds of Ahetuka, kusala, vipāka, cittas. Yes, complete.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do a quick revision with about the unwholesome, which are basically the same. Eye, ear, nose, tongue associated with what kind of feeling? Upeka. Yes, very good. Body consciousness, body chitta with dukkha, unpleasant body feeling or with pain. Then receiving consciousness and investigating consciousness associated with Upeka. Perfect. Okay, Pali exercise. Let's go now because you already know. So let's just read through. Kusala, vipāka, citta. Upeka Sahagata Chakku Vijnana. Upeka Sahagata Sota Vijnana. Upeka Sahagata Gana Vijnana. Upeka Sahagata Jiva Vijnana. Dukkha Sahagata Kaya Vijnana. Upeka Sahagata Sampatichana. Upeka Sahagata Santirana.
Investigating.
Yes, perfect. So, very good. So now we have completed the 2 rootless resultant consciousness. Now let's take a look at these 5 senses, resultant consciousness of past wholesome action and past unwholesome action. Yes, these 5 sense consciousness. So these 10 kind of cittas are collectively called the 2 sets of 5-fold sense consciousness. So this term is a little bit important because later on we will be, especially in chapter 2, we will be mentioning about this. There was a 2 set of 5-fold sense consciousness, or in Pali it's called Dvipancha Vijnana. Meaning Dvi like dual, Dvi, like easy to remember, Dvi double. So 2, twofold. Pancha, if somebody you have been to India or if you know a little of Hindi words,
Pancha rupiah bhai.
ek do teen chat, punch 5. So pancha 5. Yes, pancha vijnana, just consciousness. Yes, because they are all called consciousness. So Dvi Pancha Vijnana. So in Seattle Osilananda, in his explanation about this, he said, so it is called in English 2 sets of 5-fold sense consciousness, and in Pali Dvi Pancha Vijnana. If you prefer English, it's 6 words. If you prefer Pali, it's 1 word. So it depends. You can choose.
Which one do you prefer? So it's double groups of 5 consciousness. 5 for the wholesome, 5 for the wholesome resultant, and 5 for the unwholesome resultant. The 10
About
kind
the
of
5 senses.
the 2 pairs of 5.
Yes,
the
2
good
pairs of
one on the
senses. Yes.
I have a question about the unwholesome Santirana.
Yes.
Why does it bring Domanasa as the wholesome brings Samanasa?
I told you. Actually, I prepared already the whole explanation about this, but then it gets a little bit complicated. Actually, it's not complicated, but it will get a little bit long. So I took it away. I said, okay, if someone asks, then I will say. If nobody asks, then I will skip.
Okay.
So somebody else. Okay. So Why? Because remember
You
Domanassa.
have the slides there?
No, yes, but I have to skip.
Yeah,
I try
okay,
to
okay.
just explain
Okay,
like this. It's not difficult to understand. Why? I repeat his question. So if Santirana of the wholesome investigating consciousness can associate with Somanasa and Upeka, then why the unwholesome consciousness, not here, investigating consciousness does not associate with Upeka and Domanasa when the object is, let's say, very disagreeable? Yes? Okay, so the answer is, remember Domanasa always associate with whom?
Dosa.
With dosa, yes? So
Anger.
so in the just one slide before here in the yes. So we just saw that here at this point, dosa is not possible. Yes, because here we're not doing any action; it is resultant. So if dosa is not possible, then domanasa is also not possible.
Domanassa
Yes, because
comes,
they always come together. Domanasa and dosa always come together. So if dosa is not possible, domanassa is not possible. So in this case, even it is disagreeable or very disagreeable, super disagreeable, extremely disagreeable, it will only associate with upeka in this case. This is only choice. Yes? Okay? Okay, so let's...
So anger is our only responsibility. Nature doesn't give us anger.
Yes,
That's a
also,
very good point.
also because...
Nature is neutral. Our reaction towards the unpleasant object is totally our responsibility. The other one, the somanasa, yes, because pleasant and upeka exist.
Yes.
But anger is for free by ourselves.
You see, there is also another point, is because unpleasant mental feeling is basically our choice, because when we get angry, then the mind is unpleasant. Yes.
Boy.
So the mind does not get unpleasant unless we get angry. It's only neutral, or it can be pleasant. But it does never get unpleasant unless we get angry. So that's why in that sense, then domanassa is not possible, because it's a mental unpleasant feeling. It only associates with dosa. It's only when we get angry, when there is a dislike, angry, or whatever degree. Remember, it could be like slight, very little, boring, or whatever, or rage, or until a high degree of anger. So only when the mind has dosa will it feel bad, actually.
So that gives some kind of, I mean, it's amazing to know that actually reality is neutral, or we can say at least neutral. But we can say that it is good because it's somanasa, pleasant, and neutral. So neutral, as we were saying before, is already on the good. If we feel experience neutral, is okay. We are not suffering. So reality is throwing at us all the time neutral, minimum neutral and pleasant, and it is only our unskillfulness and our attachment to ourselves, or how I want the things to go, that suffering, we actually bring suffering into ourselves. When it comes through anger, through aversion, dosa. But when it comes through the suffering that comes through desire, is a little bit more tricky, because we feel somanasa with desire. That's why it's more difficult to deal with desire than with anger. Anger, we don't like it because we are clearly suffering, but with desire, we suffer, but we like it. It's kind of a masochistic masochism.
It's because remember the characteristic and the work of delusion. What does it do? It makes us see bad in good, makes
Good
me
in
see
bad.
good in bad, and we don't know whether this is good or bad. So because of delusion, then we continue liking what is not good for us sometimes. Yes? Okay, so ta-da! Now we have officially finished the two family of the rootless resultant consciousness, unwholesome rootless consciousness, resultant consciousness, rootless wholesome resultant consciousness.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So what time is it?
It's 10.
It's 10. Okay. So now we're going to a new theme. So let's take a tea and come back in 2 minutes, and then we'll continue with the last group of rootless consciousness. Yes?
Okay.
Okay. So we have just finished with the two family of the rootless resultant cittas, yes. And so here I think it's good that we do a tiny bit of revision to see what kind of cittas that we have already seen, so we know where we are, because the information get like more and more details, and then sometimes we lost track of where we are and what we are looking at. So we do a tiny bit of revision here, and in this chapter 1. Abhidhamma Sangaha chapter 1, we are looking at cittas, yes. So there are altogether 89 or 121 kinds of cittas. So how many have we seen now? Some, quite a lot already, yes. So we will see where are we and where are we going. So first of all, remember in the very first second sessions that we talked about citta, that we said that there are different kinds of cittas according to planes, yes. So we have been looking at kama vachara citta, which is sense sphere consciousness. Those are the consciousness that are frequent around with sense objects, yes. So here we have been looking at these types.
These are the ones that we are used to.
The ones that happens most.
The units of mind arise because of what we see, what we hear, what we taste, etc. This is the world. We live on this mostly, most of the time.
Then also we came across rupa vachara citta, which is material plane cittas. Those are the ones that when we are in meditation absorption, jhana in Pali, that this kind of consciousness arises during jhana absorption, which takes the concept of material quality, which is rupa, as object. That's why it is called rupa. Vachara is like frequenting around or plane or sphere. Yes. Okay. So this kind of consciousness we also came across.
So we can say that this one is subtler. This is the daily life we are normally moving about, and this one is when the mind is really in deep concentration. It starts experiencing more subtle kinds of
let's say more concentrated also, but also
powerful.
vipassana practice, vipassana meditation is also these kinds of consciousness, because they take reality, nama or rupa, as object. So before getting enlightened, vipassana practice meditation also is kama vachara, of course kusala citta, no, good wholesome cittas. Vipassana practice is here. Okay, so this is samatha practice, yes. So here is a little bit even more higher degree of concentration in jhana absorption, that it takes the concept of non-material quality as object, arupa vachara. That's why arupa, non-material sphere cittas. Yes, so these types also, don't worry about it now, because we will go through them category by category, one by one. We are still here at the moment. And also we have lokutara citta, supramundane consciousness, which is the consciousness or citta that arises when a person gets enlightened. Yes, so it takes nibbana as object. Okay, so I just put this again to remind where we are and what we have been talking about all these weeks. So here we are. We said that we will first look at this because this is the ones that happen most in our lives. Yes, at this time. So we have been looking at sense sphere cittas at the moment. Now, in sense sphere citta, it is further divided into few groups, and the first family that we saw is, what was it? Remember? Kusala, yes, unwholesome cittas, and there are 12 of them. Unwholesome cittas associate with the three kinds of bad roots: lova, dosa, and moha. Yes. Okay. So in this family, it is further again divided into Greek-rooted consciousness. Remember, yes, Greek-rooted consciousness. Remember that it has to do with DT. It has to do with somanasa or upeka. It has to do with asankarika or sasankarika, prompted or unprompted, with wrong will, without wrong will, associated with pleasant mental feeling or neutral mental feeling. Yes, Greek-rooted consciousness. Then we have dosa mula citta, hatred-rooted consciousness. Only two kinds. Remember, because it always associates with anger. Yes, so it's always associated with domanasa, unpleasant mental feeling. So the only difference is whether it is prompted or unprompted. Yes, so two kinds. And then we also saw another two kinds of moha, mula, chitta, delusion, rooted consciousness, which one associate with doubt and restlessness. Remember? Well, actually, restlessness everybody know doubt, and another associate only with restlessness, not associate with lobha, greed, nor associate with hatred, no dosa. So these 12 kind of unwholesome consciousness, akusala chitta, are the first family that we already completed. Yes. Now, then we started with the rootless chittas, which means that it does not associate with bad roots nor good roots. They have no roots. Yes. So what are they? The ones that we just saw, resultant consciousness, resultant chittas of unwholesome past actions. Which are they? The five senses and the receiving and investigating consciousness. Yes. Okay. So and the wholesome resultant in the same way. So those two set of five consciousness are called dvipancha vinyana. Remember, two sets of five sense consciousness. They are resultants of past good or bad action, and plus the receiving consciousness and the investigating consciousness are resulting consciousness. Okay, so now we are going to see the last family of rootless consciousness. They are rootless functional consciousness. Okay, so now here we are here. And then later on we will continue with the last family, and then we will move to Rupavachara, Arupavachara, and Lokutara. Okay?
¿Se ve mejor? ¿Se ve mejor? En el video. Sí, es que están diciendo que afecta un poco, sí. Bueno, se ve algo.
Okay.
Listo.
Okay, so now we are in the functional. So let's remember a little bit that before we already mentioned that chittas, they are divided into four classes according to its nature. So we have kusala and akusala, which is actually karma, yes, which are actions. The one when we are doing good, when we are doing bad actions, mental actions, verbal actions, and physical actions, we are planting seeds. So these types of consciousness, when we are acting, when we are actually doing something, they are akusala or kusala. They are either unwholesome or wholesome. So they have to do with the three bad roots or the three good roots. Yes. So this is one class, and also vipāka we already saw, and it can be result of good past actions without roots, with roots, and those that is a result of past bad actions, no roots at all. Yes. So we already saw this vipāka, and kriya is functional chittas. So they only do the functions and then they pass it away. It is very important to know here that they are neither seeds nor fruits. Yes, they only function. So they don't create karma because they are not actions, nor are they result of karma. So they are only functions. Yes, so now we are going to functional consciousness, rootless functional consciousness. Then why we mention rootless functional consciousness is because there are also functional consciousness with roots. Yes, okay, so now we are only talking about those without roots. Now, going back into the mental process, we're already very familiar with everybody. So here we see there are two functional consciousness here. Yes, so this one, let's take a look at this one first. Yes, everybody can see? Yes, okay. So what does this one do?
Turns.
It turns, yes. So going back a little bit here. So whoops. Yes. Yes, here. Yes. So what it does is when there is something is happening. Let's say sight object, visible object, something's happening. Then the bhavanga starts to shake. Then the first one that happens is that it knows, oh, it's from the eye door, so it's turning to the eye door. So what it does here is only turning to the eye door. So if it is a sound, then it turns to the ear door, respectively, tongue door and body door, nose door, and etc. No. So what is function? It's only to turn the mind to where the five sense to the five sense where the information is coming from. So it is its own its function. Now, let's look at mind door process. Remember that we said in mind door process, the mind object is already inside the mind. Yeah? So it's not from outside, it's not sight, sound. It could be sight or sound or taste or anything, but it's already a memory. It's not
already
happening
in the mind.
exactly at the moment. Yes, it's already in the mind. So at this point, if if it is not coming from the eye, from the nose, or from the so is it necessary to turn to the doors? Not necessary. So this in mind door process, this does not happen. Yes. So if it has nothing to do with the senses, so sense cittas also not necessary to arise because the object is already in the mind. So if there is nothing from the sense door, nothing to receive, so it can directly go into the mind. Yes. So here we have another type of functional consciousness, which the mind turns to the mind itself directly. Yes, after something has happened, he's thinking about something. So and it turns to the mind door, to that object.
Let's see what he wants.
Okay, so here, another type of rootless functional citta, it only does its function, not more than that, it's turning to the mind itself. Yes? Okay. So now we have seen there are two kinds of rootless functional consciousness here. One that happens in the five sense process, when things are coming out, objects coming from outside, then the mind turns to the five sense door, or if there is not coming from outside, it turns to the mind itself. This one is called five sense door averting citta in English. Averting is turning, not same. Yes? And in Pali, it is called pancha, again, five, yes, pancha. Here is also very easy, dwara, like door, dwara in Pali, like door, five sense door. Awajana is averting, turning to citta. So, pancha, dwara, wajana, citta is the five sense turning consciousness. And on the other hand, we have the mind door averting citta, which is mano, mind, yes? Mano, vijnana, citta, they are same, yes? Mano, dwara, vajana, citta. So these two kind of turning consciousness, they are rootless functional consciousness. They only do the function and that's it. Okay, so coming back to the five sense mental process, remember that we still have another type of functional consciousness here, the determining consciousness. So if you take a little comparison with the mind door, mind door process, you will see that they are actually on the same position in the process just before jhana. Yes, so they are the ones that actually goes to the mind. Yes, this one already collect all the information, then this one goes to the mind. Yes, so actually these two, Vatavana, determining consciousness in the five sense process, or the mind door averting consciousness in the mind door process, they are actually of the same kind of consciousness, just doing a different function. They are the same. So it's like a person with different function. At home he's a father, and at work he's a manager, but he's the same guy. Yes. So obviously, so they are the same type of consciousness, but they are not the same one. Yes. One person may be also not the same one actually. Yeah, because everything changed already. But anyway, okay. So anyway, so if it is five door process, then this type of consciousness functional consciousness will arise doing the function of determining. If it is in a mind door process, this same type of consciousness will arise doing what kind of function? Mind door averting consciousness. Yes? So it's the same type of consciousness. Let's say, for example, now to make it quite clear, I consciousness, we already said the conscious, any type of citta arises and passes away immediately. So the I consciousness that I saw you last week is not the I consciousness that I saw you right now, or even just 1 minute ago. Yes, because it arises and passes away, but this is still resultant consciousness. Yes, that is arises upon passing away. So same type of resultant, let's say I would say good, yes, wholesome resultant consciousness that arises and passes away, but they are the same type, different ones, but same type. Yes, so here also they are same type, different ones, because no one consciousness arises 5 times or arises 2 times. It arises 1 time and it passes away, and another same kind arises and passes away. Is that clear?
Question.
Yes.
Monday.
The type will be functional, right?
Can
Yes,
you talk a little
functional,
bit louder so we can?
Yes.
Yeah.
The type is actually mano dwara vajana chitta. So mind door. Usually it is called mind door averting consciousness, but when it happens, that type is functional consciousness. When it happens, then in the 5 sense process, then it is called determining consciousness because of its function. But it's the same type of functional consciousness. Yes. Okay. So determining consciousness in Pali is called Votavana, determining consciousness, and already we saw mind door averting consciousness, mano dwara vajana chitta. Now, in this case, we still only have 2 because they are the same type, yes? So we have the ones that turn to the 5 door, then the one that turn to the mind door, and sometimes performing a different function as determining consciousness during the 5 sense process. Okay, in mind door process, then this type of chitta perform the function of mind door averting. During 5 door process, it performs the function of determining. Yes? Okay, so they are the same. So totally, rootless functional consciousness are 3. So we already have 2 now. So we're coming to the last one. And the last one is quite a curious consciousness. Curious chitta. It's called smile producing chitta. Ahetuka. So this kind of consciousness, it is because it is a rootless functional consciousness, it is said that it only arises in fully enlightened beings. So that means a fully enlightened being, they smile with this kind of consciousness. That doesn't mean that we non-enlightened being does not smile, but we smile with different kinds of consciousness. Yes?
Bad news.
Sometimes we smile with lobha.
We generally smile with love.
Or sometimes we smile with
Hello.
kusala also. Yes? When we
Yes.
do good, when we are generous, when we help others, we also smile. And so those times we smile with kusala chitta, which is wholesome consciousness. And remember, these are actions, yes? And because fully enlightened person, they don't create karma anymore. They don't plant seeds anymore. So that's why when they smile, it's only a functional consciousness. They don't plant anymore. When we smile, at the same time, if it is lower, then we are planting bad seeds. When we are smiling, when it is a kusala, doing good actions, then we are planting good seeds as well. So an enlightened person smile with different kinds of consciousness. So this rootless functional consciousness, the smiling producing chitta, only belong to those, only arise in those who are fully enlightened. Yes?
Just to emphasize a little bit with this point, let's remember that when a person gets enlightened, he is not planting more seeds. So he is free from the cycle of karma. He's free from the cycle of samsara. Well, not what he's alive. He won't be planting more. He will receive the fruits, the result from the things that he planted before he was enlightened. But as the moment when let's put it this way, when we get enlightened, we won't plant seeds anymore. So if we don't plant seeds anymore, there are no fruits anymore. That's why when that person dies, there is nothing beyond it. That process comes to totally rest, and they say it's full happiness, full rest, no more birth, no more old age, no more sickness, no more dying anymore. He won't die. That's why they call it the deathless. Not because he will live forever, but because there won't be nothing to die anymore.
He won't be born.
There won't be no birth anymore. So he's totally free. So the person, the fully enlightened being, will still yield the fruits from previous action, physical before. And then, but right now, at this time, he won't be planting anymore. He's free from the whole cycle.
Yes. When he's totally enlightened, only then he don't plant seeds because as you remember, there are four stages of enlightenment. For this first stage, second stage, third stage, they still plant some kinds of seeds because defilement is not totally uprooted yet. Yes. So until the fully enlightened beings, Arahant, Buddha, Pachikapula, and Solo, only in this case, then it's only functional consciousness. But now this one, rootless functional chitta. Well, okay, since now we are talking about this, so I will go a little bit at once, like 2-3 weeks at once, a little bit. Then later on, as I mentioned right now, that there are rootless functional consciousness, meaning there are also functional consciousness with roots. Yes. So when the fully enlightened being, when they do good, they don't do bad anymore because they cannot do bad. There are no bad roots anymore. When they do good, it is with good roots. It is with loving kindness. It is with generosity, and it is with wisdom. But so it is with root. But since they don't plant seeds, it is functional only. So those are the functional consciousness, functional chitta with roots. Those are the actions, jhavanas, of the fully enlightened beings. But we are going to that in 3 weeks' time. Yeah, so it is just a little bit in advance. Okay, so the third type of rootless functional chitta is called smile-producing chitta, Ahetuka in Pali. So now we have completed the 3 types of rootless functional chitta. Pancha Dwara Vajana chitta, 5 sense door averting chitta. The one that in 5 sense door turn to the 5 sense process turn to the 5 sense door. Mano Dwara Vajana chitta, mind door averting chitta, and Ahetuka, smile producing consciousness. Okay, so now just a brief note on feelings. Vedana, because every kind of chitta associated with Vedana. So let's just take a quick look to it. This one that is just turning, what kind of feeling what kind of Vedana, mental feeling do you think? Vipāka, yes, quite obvious. Okay, and how about mine? Same, yes, because it's only doing a function, turning, yes. Then how about smiling?
Somanasa.
It's somanasa, yes, because it is smiling, yes. Okay, so it is with a pleasant mental feeling. So in this way, we completed the 3 types of rootless functional chitta, which is associating with neutral feeling, 5 sense door averting chitta, associate with neutral feeling, mind door averting chitta, and associate with somanasa, pleasant mental feeling, smile producing consciousness. Okay, let's go to Pali exercise. Okay, let's go together. Ahetuka kriya chitta. Kriya means functional. Only do it. Kriya chitta. Okay, so first one, let's go. Upeka sahagata pancha dwara vajana chitta. Upeka sahagata mano dwara vajana chitta. Somanasa sahagata Ahetuka chitta. So that's the 3 types of rootless resultant consciousness. So now, officially, we have finished the rootless family. Yay. Okay, so now we have the unwholesome family, rootless family also completed. Next week, we are going to see the beautiful consciousness that are associated with the 3 good roots. Yes, alobha, adosa, and amoha. So generosity, loving kindness, and wisdom. Yes. So in this group, it is further divided into 3 types, into 3 family. The first one is kusala chitta. Wholesome actions. Like when we do good actions with these 3 roots, there are 8 of them, so we will see this next week. And then we left, remember then when the good result of good action, and there are those with roots, and these are the ones without roots, yes? So we will see the ones with roots here, also 8 of them. And then those functional, just the one that we mentioned, are the good actions of fully enlightened being, that are good actions but does not plant seeds. Only functional. So these are the 3 families that we are going to see in the coming 2 or 3 weeks. Yes, Mate?
Okay, my dear family, so what we are looking here, let's just to give the overall picture. We are looking at how our mind works actually. When the mind is when every time that we have suffered or act unskillfully in our life, this kind of chittas, this kind of units of mind were having their fun, were active. So they were planting the seeds, they were coming from lobha, dosa, moha. Then there are some moments when our mind is just doing its job. At this present moment, let's keep reminding this. Right now, at this very moment, per second, there are millions and millions of these units doing the change. For example, if we are looking at the word and we are understanding the word, the mind already did this a lot of this. Turn to the side. Then if you are understanding whatever I'm saying, it's turning the mind, definitely at this moment the mind is turning to the door of the listening, and then making sense of the words, making sense of the ideas. So the manodwara, you remember, the one that turns to the mind, is happening a lot. One thing is to receive. You are receiving this sight, these images, this light reflected into the eyes, and the other part, and the mind is turning to the mind to understand the meaning of it. Going back, as you said, going back to sanya, to memory, is doing a lot of computations. And now next week we will see the kinds of consciousness, what ingredients, when we are acting skillfully, what the mind is doing, and what kind of ingredients are present. So, just to remind everyone, we are just looking at the elements. We are just starting to know the ingredients. Later on in future chapters, chapter 3, chapter 4, we will start cooking. So it is important. I call for your patience. We know there is sometimes we can feel very technical, a lot of information. But remember, later on when we see in detail the mental process, if we know what kind of function each of the cittas are doing, it will be very clear how actually the mind works. So just to put into the table, the mind is really complex, as you can see. That's why it's difficult to handle it. Our own mind sometimes, I wanted to do something, but it just goes and does the opposite. It's hurting me. I know this kind of thinking is hurting me, but I don't know how to change the direction. So with all this information, we will start getting closer to know all the buttons, know the mental process, and know where I can do actually something. Because, for example, if I want to change the fruits of what I'm receiving, complaining about life, it's meaningless. I cannot do nothing with the fruits. I already planted it. So many times in our own life, we can see that. Have you seen someone? I'm just saying, anybody that you know, besides you, that complains about life? Do you know someone that complains about the heat, about the economy, about my partner, about my husband, my wife, my boss? So anybody, anything, if we are complaining, you can see the meaningless of that activity. Whatever we experience, good or bad, or in the other case, do you know someone who experienced something good and he or she wants more of it? And life takes it away naturally, but I want more of this. Then I start fighting, even killing. People can kill to get what they wish. Have you seen someone? Do you know someone similar to that in the humanity? So actually, we start looking, by understanding all these ingredients, we can see where I can do something and not waste the time of a full life complaining about the bad results that I get. So you see how relevant it starts to become once we know all these functions, all these ingredients. When we know it, we start actually practically making changes in our life and making peace with nature. Yes, if I receive good or bad fruits, I am responsible for the past, but I'm making new ones right now. If I receive bad and I complain, I make a, how you say berrinche in English? Tantrum. I make a temper tantrum. So if I make berrinche, temper tantrum with what I'm experiencing, I planted it, but I make a temper tantrum now, I'm making more in the future because I'm planting to this unpleasant fruit.
The one happening.
With this unpleasant.
With that one.
Yes, with this one, yeah. With this unpleasant fruit, I'm planting more anger. So this anger is going to give more unpleasant roots. So you see, ignorance, without knowing how it goes, the process, we can, thinking that we are doing good to ourselves, we can do worse. So you see, let's keep in mind, this is how a human mind works. This is ourselves, and we can start looking what kind of things I can change and what kind of things I need to make peace with, and just start moving towards this one. So if I move to these ones, this one will come more, and if this one comes, there will be enough equanimity to deal with it and not extend it further, this negativity further.
Okay. Let's see what time is it.
It is 20?
So actually, we still have 20 minutes. How is everybody?
How is everybody energy?
Okay.
Good?
Good. Okay. So we continue with the kusala. Yes. Okay. So let's go a little bit with kusala. Then from the last
We could,
last
sorry, we could go a little bit, because we know the structure of it, we can move a little bit.
fast,
Okay.
no? Yes, yes. So actually, the kusala ones that we just talked about associate with the three good roots. Yes, alova, adosa, and amoha, generosity, loving kindness, and wisdom, which is the opposite of the three bad roots. So now we are going to look at the family that deals with the three good roots. Kusala, citta, wholesome citta. So when does this kind of citta arise? That's when we are doing good actions. Yes. So when we are having good thoughts, having good verbal action, or when we're doing good actions. Well, he's only walking, but anyway. So when we have
He's
action.
walking
So,
to
but
donate
this is,
something.
means this actually represents bodily good action. Yes. Okay. So mental, verbal, and physical good action. When we perform this kind of good action, this kind of consciousness is arising at those moments. Yes. Okay. So they are active when we act with non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion. As action means karma, we already saw. So kusala citta and akusala citta, they always only arise in jhana moments because they are actions. We're actually doing something. Yes. Okay. So they are karma. Yeah. Planting seeds. They happens here. Okay, so they never, kusala and akusala never happen here. They are resultants and they are functionals. Yes, here also not. Only in this part,
In this,
in this jhana can it happen. So now in this family, we are talking about those kusala cittas that happens in this area with the three good roots. Let's go into the kusala citta. Here, there is one difference from the unwholesome consciousness group, because you remember in the unwholesome group, we divide them into lobha mula, dosa mula, and moha mula. Yes, so the three roots, they are in three different groups. But here, in the kusala cittas, it is not divided in this way, because generosity and loving kindness, they are universal, beautiful mental factors. So whenever there is kusala, they always come together. Just like lobha always come with moha. Yes, remember? So there are two roots. Yes. So minimum there are always two roots for kusala citta. So generosity and loving kindness always come together. And so there are 4 aspects of kusala citta. Actually, there are only 8 kinds of kusala citta. Whatever kind of good that we do, be it generosity or be it helping others, compassion, or any kind of good that we do is either or one of these 8 kinds of wholesome consciousness. So what aspect does it have? Now we will take a look to it. And until here, clear? Yes, but it will become more clear now that when we see other things. So the first aspect is generosity and loving kindness itself. Then the second, like all the time, mental feeling. Then we have whether it is with wisdom or without wisdom.
So there are 3 roots, wholesome roots: alova, adosa, and amoha. Alova, non-greed; adosa, non-hatred; and amoha, non-delusion. That means wisdom. 2 of the roots are given as human beings. If we born as human beings, these roots, when the mind is in the good neighborhood, when it's in the goodness side, we will always have, as a universal, there will be some kind of generosity. Goodness is present. There will be some kind of benevolence, some kind of loving kindness. But wisdom, remember, is not a given. That's why the emphasis of teachers to study and to do what we are doing right now, because we don't know if we're born with the root of wisdom. At least we're born with these 2, but wisdom is not a given. That's why we need to continue developing ourselves.
So 4 aspects. First, we will look at generosity and loving kindness. And these 2, alova and adosa, since they are universal, beautiful mental factors, that means all kinds of kusala citta, all kinds of wholesome citta always associate with these 2. So there is nothing to say about it because they are always there. So in the name of the citta is not even mentioned, but we have to know that these 2 roots, they are always there. Now, about feeling, mental feeling. Which kinds do you think is possible? Which kind not possible? Somanasa possible. When we do good, we can do it with the pleasant mental feeling. Domanasa possible?
No.
Not possible.
Cannot, because it's only with dosa. Yes, only when we are angry. So not possible to do good angrily. So, and how about upeka possible? Yes, yes. We can also do things neutrally. Yeah, not especially happy, but we're doing good. Good. Also possible. So here, what is possible is only somanasa and upeka. Okay, so now, whether it associates with wisdom or without wisdom, define the other aspect. Here, we talked about wisdom, but what kind of wisdom? What kind of understanding? So here there are a few understandings. So understanding the true nature of things, meaning that understanding that we are made of mind and matter. It is a mental process, not just only I. Because many times we think, I do this, I am this, I am that, I am that, I am angry, I see this, or actually I didn't see, Chaku Vinyana see, yes, I consciousness sees, or I didn't get angry, dosa got angry. So, yes, so they are mental factors, so it is not, the true nature of things is like combination of many things that makes this happen. So it's not only I and me, so the true understanding of the true nature of things is one kind of wisdom in this case. And another one would be understanding karma and the result of karma. So as now you all have this kind of wisdom, because now you understand that whatever wholesome or unwholesome action we do, then there will be good or bad result that comes because of our action. Yeah, karma literally meaning action. Okay, so that's another kind of understanding that is possible. And also the understanding of, say for example, that there is the result of being respectful to one's parents. So this is a good action, there will be good result. Or if there is result of disrespect to one's parents and so on. So all these kinds of, actually it's cause and effect, no? So we're knowing that if we do good, there is good. Yeah, if we do bad, then there is bad. Yes, so this karma, yes, understanding of karma basically. And of course there are many more kinds of wisdom, say vipassana wisdom or jhana wisdom, which is the absorption wisdom of deep concentration. In general, let's say, just like when we were looking at lobha mula citta and greed-rooted consciousness, that whether it is associated with wrong will or not, remember, so mostly is the understanding of there is result of our own action. Now, when we talked about lobha mula citta, we talked about wrong will, and then we said that if a person, he steals something, he wanted a phone and he steals it and he thinks it's okay, there is no bad action, nothing will happen to me. And so this, we said that this is with wrong view, yes? And on the other case, then we said that he wanted the phone, but he knew that there will be bad result and it is not a good action, it's not wholesome action, but because his lobha, his greed is bigger than his understanding, so anyway, he still decided and he still did it. So in this case, we mentioned that if he thinks that it is okay, no bad results, then it is with greed and with wrong view. And if he thinks that it is not okay, but anyway, he wanted it, so he did it, and there is karma, there is result, so it is with greed and without wrong view. Yes? Remember? That's, we already saw this. Now here the point is, even he understands karma, that does not mean that he has wisdom.
No.
In this case. Yes? Okay?
He has no deity, but no wisdom. That doesn't mean that there is wisdom
there. There is wisdom. Because wisdom only associates with good action. So even he understands karma, but he is not doing a good action. So wisdom is not possible in this case. So that's like in the lobha mula citta, that's what Bhante wanted to say. That without wrong view doesn't mean that it is with wisdom. That was a few weeks ago. So anyway, so what I wanted to say here is, although he understands karma, that there will be bad result, does not mean that he has wisdom.
He knows it's bad, but he don't understand fully and is not taking the whole beauty of wisdom into account. He's just refraining from doing bad, and he's kind of
He's
should I
not
do
really
that?
refraining.
You know
That's
what?
why
He
did it.
kind of did
Yeah,
it, but he
did
still
it.
do it. So no wisdom yet.
So, because wisdom, as we already said, is a beautiful mental factor, is a wholesome root, it cannot associate with unwholesome, cannot associate with akusala action. So that's why it is not possible. Now, we are here, no? So it is only associated with here. It cannot, wisdom cannot associate with this family, nor this family, because no roots. No, wisdom is a root. And here, bad roots, so not possible. So only in these ones, it is possible. So, the kusala cittas, when we do good actions, let's say we help someone, or we have loving kindness with our family, or helping other people, then we can do this action with wisdom or without wisdom. Yes? Because we can do this action understanding the nature, how nature works, or we can understand that there is good result with good action, or we cannot understand. Yes, because anybody can have good nature. He can do a good action. Say, for example, somebody can give something to someone just because I think it's nice, not because I know about karma, or not because I thought about like nature, how it works, and all these things. It's just because that it's good. I think it's good, and just it feels good. I just do it. Also possible. So in those cases, it could be without wisdom. Or if we understand karma, then when we do good deeds, then it is with wisdom. Yes? Okay.
Like for example, helping someone or doing something for someone because you want to get something back from it. Is that
That's with loba.
that's not
Sometimes the sensation comes like when people act with wisdom, like, oh, I know I'm doing good, so I know I will get good results. That's part of it. But if the intention is doing something to get something in return, actually it went already to the other side and got loba.
Knowing and expecting is different.
Yes, and the other one, he knows he's doing good for himself. He knows he's doing good for the other one, and that's the best way to use his energy. Then, and he knows that the good result is coming, but he's not expecting it. He's not doing it because of the result. Then it's free. It's free from loba, and then the action just happened. And then a person may think, well, how can I use my life the more meaningful? Helping myself and helping others. Then it's clean from all this kind. So it is the boundary in the way we perceive it is very close. But we need to constantly, and while we are doing things, clean the intention and know that I'm just doing good because I know it's good for both. And then I will use the best of I can this energy, human energy.
And actually, it's quite interesting because a truly wise person, he knows that how nature works. Yes, so he knows if he does good result will happen. He knows it, so he doesn't even have to expect it because it's just nature. If you do good, then good will, of course, it will come. And then you don't have to want the good result because it's just a process. If you plant the seed, when conditions come, it will happen. Yeah. Okay. So here, the same thing is when we do good without wisdom, without understanding, that does not mean that there is DT. That does not mean that there is wrong view. Although we don't think about karma or we don't understand about this, that does not mean that it is with DT, because DT always associates with loba, yes, because it's a grasping of an idea. And so in this case, it is not the case. So it is, although it is without wisdom, it is not with DT.
It has no ignorance, but it has no wisdom. So it's kind of, it's not wise, but it's also not attached or unwise. It's just neutral kind of. So we have the ignorance. I know I'm doing bad, but I still do it. It's not ignorance, it's less ignorance. Then we have the non-wisdom, which is not ignorance, but it's not wisdom, and then wisdom. So we can have the four of them aligned. Total ignorance, I know I'm doing bad, but I still do it, which we find ourselves very often on that one. And then I'm not doing bad, but I'm doing bad. I'm doing good, but I don't know. I'm not wise without understanding, and I'm doing good with understanding. Yeah. So you see from here to here the difference of quality in the way we perform an action, from ignorance and darkness to light. So this one obviously is the best. We do good knowing that doing good is good and is good for everyone.
So in kusala cittas, in wholesome, we will finish almost. So in wholesome cittas, wholesome consciousness here, as we can see, there is, although it is without wisdom, there is no ditthi. Yes, and it is always with metta, with alobha, and with adosa. Metta and loving kindness and generosity, because they are universal mental factors. Yes, so any kind of good actions is always with these two roots, and can be with or without wisdom. Okay, so now that we finished 3 aspects, and the other one is prompted or unprompted, which is basically similar, and we already know it, like in the loba, one that like if one do it voluntarily, or if one somebody told you to do it, or it can be prompted by oneself, prompted by another section, and like this. So this prompted part we will leave it for next week, because now it's almost time, and so we will continue with the last aspect of kusala citta next week. Okay, so until here we will stop. Yes.
Okay, my dear family. So to close, just let's get this image. Our mind is a plant. This is how the Buddha decided to teach this. Our mind is a plant, and it has 6 roots, isn't it? 3 good roots and 3 bad roots. Whichever root we take most water from, that's the quality of the mind we are carrying. If we take more water from the lobha, dosa, moha roots, we are getting the roots are just feeding the goodness side of the mind, the negative side of the mind. Wherever we take the most nutrients, the one we use the most is a reality, is how our plant will be. So let's start getting I really kind of enjoy this image, to think of ourselves mentally as a plant. So whatever kind of fruit we want to get, if I got nutrients and water from the negative side of the mental plant, obviously I will be experiencing negativity fruits, negativity flowers. If I get positivity I feed this mind from the positive roots, the outcome will be no more than beautiful results. So kind of in this way. So let's close today. What do we bring home today? Let's close in how do you solve? How is it? What do you bring? What inspires? What triggers doubt or anything? Please.
For me, it will be acceptance of whatever I'm living, or whatever fruits are coming right now in my life, and deciding, taking the decisions about my reaction towards those fruits.
Well, the fruits that we experience is already there. What we do with it is it's the challenge.
There are so many things that I'll try to really concentrate and concrete. And I think that good seeds gives good results. I don't have to push, I don't have to create anything, I don't have to expect anything, I just have to follow the nature of those seeds.
Do good so they become.
And realizing that wisdom it's a very important ingredient in what we do. So even if we have a tendency to help or do good things for other people, always connecting with the true intention of it, it's very important, because it's not what we do, but the intention that we put upon it. Right?
What will give really the quality of the result. We will see next week when we see the beautiful mental states, when we see the beautiful cittas, how important it is when it has wisdom in it, as we saw before. When it has wisdom, the plant is really the seed is planted with a lot of how you say fertilizer. You put it with fertilizer, the fertilizer of wisdom. It is there, and when
it
it
has
is not,
stronger roots because it has 3 roots. No, without wisdom, it only has 2 roots.
Yes.
It's weak. The plant is
and then you put the wisdom in, and then it has 3 roots. So that plant, whatever thing we are going to harvest in the future, it already came very strongly with this how you say fertilizer, and the 3 roots are there. Someone else who wish to share?
Sorry, the 3 roots would be generosity, love and kindness, and wisdom.
And wisdom.
Yes.
Aloba, adosa, amoha. Generosity, loving
non-greed,
kindness,
non-hatred, non-delusion.
non-delusion. Yes. Someone else before finishing? That's it. Okay, my dear family. So we continue next week. Thank you very much, Charana.
Thank you.
You would like to come to close, Charana? We said our intention. So may any seed that we are planting at this moment with our efforts to understand, to come here and to pay attention, may these seeds fall in the best soil so it can give many fruits. If we know that we are doing good, we are planting as we see, as we saw right now, that we are putting the best of the fertilizer, wisdom, we are doing good wisely. So may this inspire us to continue doing these activities of goodness for ourselves and others in our daily lives. And with that intention, we repeat. Idano punyam nibanasa pacheyo hotu. Idano punyam nibanasa pacheyo hotu. Idano punyam nibanasa pacheyo hotu. We appreciate our teachers. We appreciate the Buddha because for all this information that he left. Fortunately for all of us, 2019. We are having access to all this ancient information about the nature of the mind, the nature of the body. May we be skillful in understanding it and applying it for our benefit and that of our families. If we know someone that is having trouble mentally or physically, we can remember them at this moment, and we share the fruits of our good actions. In this case, this study, for the benefit of anyone. We know either we know them or not, and especially those who suffer more than us. And we repeat, idano punyam sabasadanam pajimam, idano punyam sabasadanam pajimam, idano punyam sabasadanam pajimam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, Charlie.